single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way.
Hey there, Cerise here. Thank you so much for joining me. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Thank you so much for joining me for story time from Sosua Shores. Guys, this story is actually quite interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, you may get some tips from this story. I'm not quite sure. I know I did. Tips to be careful. Well, I can't be any more careful. But with my cellular, but trust me, this is a cellular story, I would say. Okay, let's do the backdrop like we do in all our story times. Okay, so we have a couple. This couple is from Sabaneta, and Sabaneta is about maybe 5 minute motoconchal drive, maybe about a 5 minute ride away from Cabarete. Cabarete is about 10 minutes away from Sosua in a car. Okay, so just to kind of give you the distance away. So there's a couple. There's a woman and a man. Ugh, off the top of my head, you guys know I don't always come up with the best names all the time for the culture. Sometimes I'll be calling Tracy for a girl in Russia. Or, I don't say Natasha or whatever. But, okay, let me say, let's just call them Blue and Red. The couple, the two people I'm going to be talking about. But let's call them Blue and Red in Spanish. Azul and Rojo. Rojo is red. Okay, so Azul is blue, obviously. All right, let's get down to it all now. Okay, backdrop for Azul. Azul, he was born and raised, and a strange looking fly just came in the window. All right, Azul was looking for a job. He was not born in Sabaneta. He was born out just a little outside of Sabaneta. If you go near Hamao, okay? Hamao is a beautiful place. If you guys can go there, it's easy to get to. It's loaded with beautiful rivers. Do not miss it when you come here. It's safe to go to, lots of security, great family people in the countryside. He was born and raised near there. Now, there were not a lot of jobs for him in regards to the industry he wanted to get into. He wanted to get into owning his own bar. He wanted to be able to meet a lot of tourists, learn English, and be around people from around the world. He had a worldly mind. So that's what Azul did. He set out to Sabaneta. When he got to Sabaneta, his aunt had the reason why he went to Sabaneta, his aunt had a colmado/cafeteria below her apartment. So he ran it for her for free all day long. All he wanted to do was just be able to eat, have a roof over his head, and meet people. Now, in Sabaneta, you're not going to meet a lot of tourists, right? But I go there and I'm not a tourist any longer here. I live here. So when I am there, I will see the odd foreigner, but it is very native. I love it. I love it. It's just like the rest of the Dominican Republic, but really cheap land. Well, really inexpensive housing. If you guys are willing to merge a little bit more that way past Cabarete, I can get you a really awesome apartment, an awesome house, not apartments, houses for really, really cheap. Not really, really cheap, but you know what I mean? You'd have to get your own furniture and everything, but you're looking at about $200, $300 a month for a full house, 3-bedroom. Okay. And even cheaper in Gaspar Hernandez, you can get something for 200. Like 3-bedroom, beautiful. And these are not just small apartments. But anyway, this is not an apartment video. Let's just get back to it. So he just wanted a roof over his head. So he was hoping to meet the odd tourist, the odd, gringa type of thing. And he did. He met quite a few people. Now, his aunt had no children, no dependents, nothing at all. And she was a little bit older. It was his great aunt. And she said to him one day, because he was running that place like nobody's business. Let's put this on silent, on airplane mode. Sorry about that, guys. You know how it goes sometimes. All right. Excuse me. So now his aunt said to him, like, she really respected how he was running it. He was setting up shelves. It was cluttered when he got there. He said it was dirty, but he has like a woman's touch, okay? And he was like, he just knew that he had to go, and that's what he says, a woman's touch. I think it's not a woman's touch. I think it's just a good touch for business. You guys know me, I love to do business, and I don't give it gender. So I think he just had I think he has a really good head on his shoulders, and he still does. I'll get more to it. It's a great story. Of course, it has a twist to it, like all the stories do, but it's interesting. So now, excuse me, he took off to Sabaneta. He's helping his aunt, and everything. His great aunt, she loved what he did with the place, and she said to him, now that you're making, and he was bringing in money, she said, now that you're making the colmado money, now that people are coming in, because he was ordering also things on Amazon. Get that. She trusted him and gave him some of her savings. This woman was saving all her life, never had any children or anything like that, never got married. The colmado was hers, that she worked for and bought, and the house that she built with her own hands, not her own hands, but her own money. And so she had no one to give it to. So she had the savings, and she knew she was aging. And so she said to him, okay, what are your ideas? And he kept it really low, and he was ordering little things here and there. He wasn't ordering like 5 speakers. He would order one, and he would sell it for double the cost. And when he showed her the things that he could sell and that were going quickly, she allowed him to have more money to reinvest, bam, 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 bam. Before you knew it, he was running the store. And down the street, he also was helping a guy that was selling electronics, and they were just used electronics. And he said to him, if you want to sell your used electronics, you got to have at least a point of reference. Sell brand new ones and show the price difference. And he gave him a whole bunch of speakers, and he's like, here, just put those right there on your table and let people come. When they see the brand new ones are like that expensive, they either buy it or they don't. And if they don't buy it, then they get to buy your refurbished speaker. And it worked. And so the guy went in on business with him. So now he had down the street some speaker shop, and then down the other way he did the same thing at a food market. So he pretty much spread his wings out in regards to being a good businessman. His aunt passed away and left everything to him. So now the house upstairs, the apartment upstairs, was now, when she passed on, a 2 level. So the bottom was the whole colmado, and it was pretty big. When I went to go look at it, he invited me there to do the story in person, and I went in person because I was in Cabarete anyway, which is something I'm going to be telling you guys about in another story or another video. But I'll just give you a little tidbit right now. I won't be spending as much time in Los Charamicos, but I will be keeping my apartment in Los Charamicos. I will be spending more time on the beach in Cabarete. Let's just say that. Okay, so I just happened to be in Cabarete that day, and I said to him, sure, why not? I'll pop by. So I popped by his place, and it was popping with music and everything. We sat down. It was great. He served food, and I got to see his personality live in person, and he's just funny. He laughs, he lives a good life. He has, a few sad stories, but not really. He just tough stories about trying to make money as a kid, and trying to, keep up with the Joneses type of thing. And he doesn't do that any longer. Now the Joneses are trying to keep up with him. But in any case, what happened was he also went in on furniture, backyard furniture, like patio furniture, terrace furniture. And he made a lot of money as well with a lot of foreigners and villas and stuff. He provides a lot of furniture to villas. But now, so he had all these properties. Now he decided he was going to go into the restaurant business. And he decided that he was going to go into the restaurant business in Sosua, where now he can afford it, have his own place that he can rent and hire people, and also go back and forth from Sabaneta to Sosua just to see, run his businesses. Well, he did get a bar. When he got a bar in Sosua, he did meet a lot of foreigners. One day, a foreigner, a gringa, a woman foreigner, went into the bar that he had, and he was managing it, and he had women working for him. Hold on one second, I'm about to sneeze. Whew. Whew. Bless me. Salud. So she went into the restaurant, right? And he was there and he liked her right away. He was like, wow. But he didn't speak English. And that's what he was trying to learn, English. And so this woman did not speak any Spanish. But they had Google Translate and everything like that. And so the woman was using Google Translate. And, he was really interested in her. She came the next day. But there was one waitress that he had working there, that he had hired, and that waitress really liked him, and he didn't know. The waitress was beautiful, is beautiful, and she knew that he would never think for the life of him that she would like him. Now, she didn't like him because he was the owner of the bar. She didn't even know really at that point how many bars he owned or what businesses he owned in Sabaneta. She had no clue. She didn't know him from, the trees to the forest. She just really liked him. She felt he had a little bit of an awkward look. She felt like he didn't even look Dominican. He looked more like he was Indian, like from India, right? And she said that for her, that was very different. It was striking for her. She loved it. So what did she do? She decided that she was going to try to tell him that she liked him before he got involved with the gringa. So one night when the gringa was there, she said to her boss, to Azul, oh, by the way, this woman is Rojo. And Rojo said to Azul, I want to tell you something. And he's like, what? She's like, and she speaks English, really good English. She said, guess who likes you? And he said, I know, right? Oh my gosh, I'm just about to give her my phone number, but I don't know. I want to do it in English, and I want to make sure that I get her number correctly. And she was like, what? What are you talking about? And he's like, the gringa. I like the gringa. I'm just about to give her my number. I don't know how to do it. Blah, 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 blah. And then he said, can you do it for me, Rojo, please, Rojo? Well, I guess we would call her Roja because she's a female. Let's call her Roja. So just for the sake of it, I don't even know if the color changes with the gender, but let's just assume. I'm still learning Spanish. So Roja, she felt like, oh my gosh, like that was very awkward, but she still did it. And she went over to the gringa and she said to the gringa, is it okay if I give you his phone number? And the gringa said, no, I don't take phone numbers, but I'll give him my phone number. And she was like, oh, okay, hold on a minute. She walked to the back and she said, Azul, Roja said to Azul, she doesn't give her phone number out. But she said, she doesn't take phone numbers, but she said she'll give her phone number to you. And, he's like, yeah. And that's why she had his cell phone. Here's my cell phone. Like, you have my cell phone. Take it. Get her number for me. So Roja went and took the number down. But as she was programming it in, she decided to put her phone number in the phone with the gringa's name. So that was it. Now the gringa didn't have Azul's phone number. Now the gringa shows up the next day and Azul is not there. And the gringa says to Roja, Azul didn't message me. Roja says, oh no? Oh, maybe he's just not interested. But he did message her. But remember, the number is Roja's number. So Roja got the message. And Roja said to Azul contacted Roja, right? Thinking it was the gringa, and said, hi, Thank you for the phone number. It's really nice to meet you. I would love to take you out sometime. Have you ever been to the river? I'd love to take you to the river in Hamau. You can meet some very good people, and we could eat some really good food if you're interested. And he really wanted to take her to the river and show her an awesome time. But when she got back, Roja said, yes, I would love to go, knowing for sure that the gringa is not going to be showing up. This was my question to Roja. How did you prevent the two of them from finding this out? Because the gringa would show up at the bar. No. Azul only worked in the evening time from 6 o'clock until 9 o'clock, 3-hour shifts a day. When she was speaking to him on the phone, okay, and that's when the gringa would usually show up. Well, this is what Roja did. Roja said to the guy, to Azul, pretending she was the gringa, by the way, I won't be in the evenings any longer. Just to let you know, maybe if you can come in earlier during the days, that would be great. Because I'll be there from 5 to 7 every day. The reason why she said that was so he could go in earlier. Roja knew that Azul could not go in any earlier at 5 because he was always busy. She didn't really know what he was busy doing, but he never showed up before 5. Before 6. And even sometimes he'd show up just for an hour and stay just an hour because he was always so busy. So what she said to the girl, oh, he didn't contact you. Oh, wait, I'm getting ahead of myself here. The night that Roja and Azul talked, the first night, they hit it off back and forth. Of course, Azul thought he was speaking to the gringa, and, Roja had to play it off. Roja was speaking, like pretending she was translating and everything like that, but she was really speaking Spanish. The two of them hit it off so well. Anyway, what she did when the gringa showed up, she told the gringa that Azul will not be in the restaurant for the next few weeks. She said, oh, he didn't contact me. That's what the gringa said. Oh, he didn't contact me. Blah, blah, blah. Roja said to the gringa, oh, okay, all right. Well, I don't know. He won't be here for a few weeks. And the gringa was like, oh, really? Now, the gringa obviously was only going in there for him, and she just would be going in there the hours he was there. She wasn't going to the bar any other time. Roja knew this. Roja worked 7 days a week. She opened and she closed. Okay? Perfect wife. He didn't see this at first. Yes, the story does have a twist. So now, the gringa, she's, decides that she's going to start showing up. Like 3 weeks later, she stopped showing up, period. And she started to go to the bar across the street because he wasn't there. So she thought, right? She started to go out and hang around other people and everything. And when he would show up, like one time he did show up at 5 o'clock trying to be on time for her. And he saw her across the street and he got angry. And he said to Roja, look at her. She's across the street. She told me to come here today, and I come here, and look at her. She's across the street. Now, Roja was talking to him. They were talking back and forth all the time, leaving text messages, growing close together and everything. And then he said, look at her. She's across the street. I don't even want to have anything to do with her. Why is she at the other bar? Blah, 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 blah. And Roja said, why don't you message her? Why don't you just leave a message and just say, hey, I'm here. Why don't you come over? And he did. He messaged the woman and he's like, hey, I'm here. I'm at my bar. Why don't you come on over? And then Roja got back to him and said, oh, sorry, I can't make it over today. My friends are all over here with me. I'll see you another day. So he just and he never went out in the front part of the bar. So she wouldn't even have seen him. He'd show up, he parked in the back, and he went through the back entrance, and he never went out through the front. How did he see her at the other bar out across the street? He just went to check in. He said he went to check to see if she was in the front of the bar, and she wasn't, and he saw her directly across the street at another bar, and that's what upset him. So anyway, Roja was the one who got back and said, "Oh yeah, I'm busy, I'm with my friends," but in reality, it could be that gringo was really looking for a serious relationship. But what happened was, he decided that he was just going to, let the gringo go. They couldn't communicate. He was always too busy. She wanted him to be at the bar when he wasn't there, and stuff like that. Meanwhile, back on the ranch, he wasn't even speaking to her at all, ever. And and then the gringo went in one day, drunk, to the bar when he was there. And the gringo started to yell and holler and say, "Who the F do you think you are? You're just a barman. You can't chump me off like that. You can't act like I'm nothing, blah, blah, blah." And he didn't understand what she was saying, because he didn't understand English. But she was saying to him, "I thought you liked me, blah, blah, blah." Now, of course, Roja understood what she was saying. So Roja was like, "You have to leave right away. You have to go. Get out. You're causing a commotion." Right? And the girl was like, "No, he thinks he's better than everyone else. F him. F him. He's the one that needs us in his country. Blah, blah, blah." And he didn't even know what she was saying. Right? And she was just yelling at the top of her lungs. She was all drunk and making a spectacle of herself. And that's when he said to Roja, he said, "Can you do me a favor? Just make sure she does leave. She does not come back here again." And Roja was like, "Really? You don't want her back here again?" He's like, "No, she's strange. She's crazy. She's a drunk. She's coming in here yelling and hollering. What did I do to her? I absolutely did nothing. She scares me." And then Roja was like, all right. Roja knew that was it. She got it. She was able now, she achieved what she set out to do. So, and you know what? It does sound to me too like he missed a bullet. For the girl to go in there all drunk up, hollering and screaming at the top of her lungs, saying that he's no good, blah, blah, blah. It looks like he dodged a bullet. But, so anyway, Roja said to him, "Oh yeah, you know what? I think you're right. Just don't have anything to do with her." So now Roja didn't stop though. Roja started to send messages after messages saying, "Please, I really like you. I know that you love Roja, right? I know Roja and you are doing something together." So what Roja did at this point was plant the seed for him to be like, "What?" And then he said to her, "I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm going to block you if you don't stop messaging me." And she's like, "I know Roja wants you." And then he got back to Roja, thinking that it was the gringa. "Roja would never want me. Look how beautiful she is. I don't know what you're talking about. I think you're crazy. First of all, you tell me to meet you. Every time I come, you're never here. And then when I come, you're across the street. And then when I'm here, you come in and you start yelling and hollering. I don't even know what you were saying that night. What were you saying?" And then Roja wrote, "I was saying that I know you love Roja and you just don't know it." And he was like, "Roja is a very beautiful woman, but I could never love her. She would never want me." And then Roja wrote, "I know Roja wants you because she told me one day that you're very handsome and she likes you. You have sex appeal." And he was like, Roja would never say that. And now he wasn't going to block the gringa at all. Now he just wants to hear what Roja said about him, not realizing that it's Roja talking to him. Right? I hope you guys are following this one, because it certainly does have so many twists to it that it's interesting. So now what happened was he's like, Roja wouldn't ever say that, blah, blah, blah. So then he goes out to Roja and he's like, Roja, this woman is crazy. Roja said, why? What's going on now? You're still talking to her? Roja played dumb. He's like, she's just crazy. I'm not talking to her. I'm trying to get rid of her. But she thinks you and I have something. And Roja was like, what? Why would she think that? And he's like, yeah, I know, right? Why would she think that you would ever want me? And Roja said, well, I mean, you're a handsome man. You do have a weird way about you, which I think is cute, and you do have a lot of sex appeal. So I could see that a woman would think that I would want you, working for you and stuff. You know, you're a successful man. A lot of people respect you here, and you've just been here for a short amount of time in Sosua. And he's like, you think all those things about me? She's like, yeah, why wouldn't I? I think you're just a lovely person. You're a great catch. And he was like, oh my gosh, thank you, wow. And then he went back. He's like, thank you. And he went back into his room, into his office, and he messaged the gringa and he said, what else did she say to you? What else did Roja say to you? So Roja went off. But Roja went off pretending she was the gringa. Like, Roja talks about how you are an amazing person, how you are an honest person, and that you don't rip people off, and you pay her very well. And sometimes, even when there's no business, you still will give her tips, and how when there's special occasions, you offer her the time off and you offer to work for her, blah, blah, blah. Like little special things that she was writing to him. And, he was like, wow. So he put his phone down again and he went back out and he's like, Roja, I'm sorry to ask you this. I never usually would ask this because you're my employee, but would you like to go out for dinner sometime? And Roja was like, I thought you'd never ask. And he was like, really? She's like, yes, I would love to. I would love to go out for dinner with you. And then they went out for dinner. This is not finished yet. They went out for dinner. When they were out for dinner, Roja started to really fall in love with him, and he started to really fall in love with Roja. So much that he wanted to just move her in right away to his apartment. His house, and he created a little apartment for her in his house. He told her, here, don't pay rent in Sosua. It's very expensive. I have a little in his, like, he has a lot of land, and he has a lot of it's kind of like not really like a villa, but a house. And then on the side of the house, it's a little apartment, a little studio apartment. It's still there now. She doesn't live in it now, but he put her in there, and he said to her, you can come home with me when I come home at nights, and in the mornings you can take the public car in or whatever, but I want you to live in my place. I don't want you to pay the huge expensive rent every month in Sosua. And she didn't mind taking the public car in every day to Sosua because everyone does it here. It's only like 30 minutes in the public car, maybe 40 minutes, right? And it's economical as well. So that's what she did. She moved in with him. She had her own little apartment on his property, and they ate dinner together every night at the restaurant, and then they would leave together. They'd go to Sabaneta, and she'd go in her apartment and he'd go into the house. And they did that for many months. And even though they were dating and chilling out and going, like, doing different things like couples would, he never ever went overboard with the coming on to her or anything. Finally, one day he just said to her, he's like, I can't stop thinking about you. I love you so much. I just want you in my life forever. I feel you would be a good wife for me. And she said to him, I can't marry you, because all of a sudden she got a flood of guilt. And he said, why? And she told him that she can't marry him, but she'll start paying rent for that apartment, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, what are you talking about? What's going on? And she said, I have to admit something to you before I marry you. And she admitted it to him, and he laughed. And he's like, what? Listen, if I had the choice between you and that gringa, you would have been my first choice anyway. But I just thought to myself that you would never go for a man like me. That's all. He's like, but I adore you. Like, you're my first pick. I'm glad you did that. If you didn't do that, I wouldn't have the woman of my dreams. And that's what happened. And when they contacted me, they're like, Cerise, we want to tell you our story. So now they actually have a lot of properties together. She didn't know that he had as much as he has. Like, when she went to his property, she was like, whoa, she felt like, she overstepped her boundaries. She thought he just had like a little shack Sosua bar. Like, like she thought he was trying to pay, like scraping pennies to pay the rent. And that wasn't so. He was just a money saver and very strict when it comes to spending. And so, when he took her to Sabaneta and showed his house to her, she was like, whoa, this is all yours. She felt like she was out of her league. Like, oh my gosh, she should have let him she should have let the gringa have him. Because she was like, the gringa and him would have been better matched because, financially speaking. And that's not so. That's not so. A lot of us foreigners come here and we're not looking for people that are business owners and stuff. We're okay. I'm okay meeting people that don't make a lot of money here. I mean, their hearts are beautiful. And as long their pockets may be shallow, but their hearts are deep. And for me, a woman that has done it herself all her life, all my life I've done for me. I'm not looking for a man to take care of me at this age. I'm 48 years old. But when I am here, I don't mind dating a guy that might make only $10 a day because his rent is probably only $60 a month. Right? So he's got it. He can pay for himself. Now, if we go out somewhere and we're buying drinks and it's an inexpensive bar, of course I'm going to put forward for both of our bills. But again, to eat here and have a few drinks is like $30 for a really nice, exquisite meal and a few cocktails. Like, really. And you can get full and it's great. But in Canada, where I'm from, it was like $10 for a drink. And, like for a nice glass of wine, $9, $13 for a glass of wine. And then you're looking at 20 something dollars for an entree. Never mind the, $12 appetizer. I'm talking at a really nice restaurant. Here, excuse me. Let me take a drink here. Here, I can spend $30 and get two really good meals, like really good meals, great presentation, enough food to make you full and you want to take home a doggy bag, and also drinks. Like, anyway, I went off on a tangent, but you see, that is here. A lot of us, when we get here and we're living here, we get it afterwards. We get it. I was a little green when I got here at first and I didn't get it, but now I got it now and I see it and I know it and I know how to work it. And a lot of people, they do when they get here. They get it. Everyone gets it after a while when you're here and you become an expat. So she didn't get it because for her, she thought it would be best for the gringa and him to be together. She thought she ruined his chances to become better, but she didn't. She saved him because that gringa might have made his brain so demented. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. I'm so sorry, guys. That gringa could have made his mind so demented because she was in every bar drinking every night, and her lifestyle was a lot different. She wasn't a studious woman. She wasn't a business woman. She wasn't a woman that was trying to make her life better. She was a woman that was here on permanent vacation, living off her daddy's dime, and she was too old to do that. She was older than him. But this woman, Roja, was younger than him. She could still have children, and he was willing to sacrifice children and everything just to be with a gringa. You know what I mean? Like, older than him too. And and he didn't have to do that. So now Roja is pregnant right now. And they're going to be having their first child in about 4 months from now. So they're really, really happy. And his businesses, he was just so happy to be able to have so many businesses at once. Some of them closed down during quarantine. Some of them didn't, because some of them had to do with food and, like grocery store type of thing called models. So he was good and he still made his money and he was happy. But now he's looking to relax. He's looking to sell off some of his land. He's looking to be a dad and he wants to still grow, but now he wants to grow outside of the country. So now he's opening himself up to investors and he's looking forward to working with people all around the world, especially those people who want to come here and invest in their future. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for subscribing. And don't forget, when you do subscribe, hit that little bell button, please, because it will let you know when I'm uploading a new video. Take care of yourself, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Big blesses, huge hugs, and loads of love.